I'm Lesley Ortiz, and this is Style 101. We are back, and this is a show that we like to showcase fashion, we like to showcase lifestyle, business, and beauty. And today's guest, we have a very special person with us today, and it is the designer, the spiritual inspiration, Mr. J Fitz.
Thank you for having me, Lesley. Appreciate you.
Welcome, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'm
Absolutely.
so glad you could come out today.
For sure.
And so you've been designing for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I've been watching you for a couple of years now.
Yep.
And you've just been such an inspiration. I just want to say, first off, thank you again. But really, what inspired you to go into design?
That's a great question. Well, it started at a really young age. I've always had an eye, specifically when it came to like women's fashion. But initially, I remember I got cut from varsity basketball. Got cut from varsity basketball team. And at the time, I needed something to like change my trajectory in life. So I prayed, I asked God, like, what is my purpose in life? I felt God telling me that it was to inspire. So a few weeks from getting cut, I walked into the art room, and I naturally started designing, doing sketches and stuff like that, and studying, like streetwear and luxury, right? And I did this one piece that my professor, my teacher at the time, submitted to the High Museum. And then this is like back in 2014, 2015, the High Museum saw that piece of work. And then I got to be in an exhibit at the High Museum. So that was a way of God showing me like, okay, like you're on the right path. But it was plenty of events that led up to that point. Like I remember one time my dad took me to, Ralph Lauren had his own store in Lenox Mall. It's like 2-3 stores or something like that.
Yeah.
When I stepped inside of there, I was like enamored, with how they made. It wasn't just a retail store; it's like a miniature like fashion house.
Oh yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, wow, I maybe can do this. So it was a series of events that led up to that. But I've always had a natural eye. I've always been an artist, but design spoke to me.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I know this is going to sound like a shameless plug,
Mm-hmm.
but we're both connected to that Ralph Lauren boutique.
You already know. Yeah.
I mean, I know this sounds like a shameless plug,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm an independent consultant with a contract with Ralph Lauren boutique. So I work with those guys, and I bring my clients to that Ralph Lauren boutique now. Mm-hmm. So it just, seeing the connections and how they're happening, it's just pretty amazing.
Exactly.
And that team and that staff over there, they've been really, really wonderful. But being a part of their stylist program has been very eye-opening for me as well. So to see how you got inspired, because when you walk through those doors, they have a whole design team that just focuses also on how everything looks,
right,
and how everything is styled within the boutique. So I could see how everyone that walks in there just gravitates to it and sees, it's inspiring.
Yeah, the good thing, like I've always loved Ralph because he creates. It's not just clothing to him. He originally got his inspiration from movies and film, right? And so when you walk inside of one of his stores, it's like you go in a different time period, you're in his movie when you shop from him, when you experience Ralph Lauren. So it's dope.
And his shows as well. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, the holiday show this fall, this winter coming up. Oh my gosh, if you guys get a chance to see, it's pretty amazing. So, and the inspiration for your designs and seeing how you interweave all these different things from your culture and from the world at large into your designs. How does that work for you in your everyday life?
Well, on a day-to-day, to me, design is a way of living, right? So this conversation, like how we have this conversation, is a form of design. You know, how someone lives their life. I always say, like, you can curate your life experience. So how you do everything is a form of design. It's not just the clothes you wear. It's just to ask yourself, like, what kind of lifestyle you want to live, and then surround yourself with those different elements. You know, like, people have different taste levels. You know, and like we spoke about before off camera, like exposure. When you get exposed to certain things,
absolutely,
your palette for life is different. And, you know, so on a day-to-day, I just try to live life creatively. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of doing things like the normal way, like ask yourself, like, what's the most authentic way and what feels the most aligned. Yeah.
And it expands. It just grows and grows, and I think people gravitate towards that. You know, how we met. I mean, the environment couldn't have been more stylized.
Right.
You know, I mean, I met you in Restoration Hardware, or RH, and I remember, you know, I'd go in there and pick up things for my townhouse and whatnot, but I think I saw you as soon as I walked through that door.
I saw the energy. I saw the energy for sure. I saw that you had. I pay attention to detail, and like I said, I love women's fashion. So how you had the burgundy, the cranberry set, how you had, how you put that together, that initially spoke to me. So, oh yeah, I already know.
I do have a thing for leather. So yeah, I have that oxblood, you know, red leather, the jacket, the pants, you know, the whole thing. And I thank you, but I, like you say, I stylize my whole life, and it carries over to my clients. You know, I mean, first I'll do clothing, and then next thing I know, I'm helping them with their interiors and, you know, their life overall, and I become more of a life coach to those clients, because that's wherever there's a need, wherever there's maybe a problem to solve or whatever it is, I'm a fixer. And as creatives, we feed off of the energy of other creatives. And I guess in this platform and talking to you, I've been building a network, but more, I've been building my tribe. And I consider you a member of my tribe.
Thank you. Likewise.
Because being able to build off of that creativity, it lends itself to so many bigger and better things and collaborations. And I would say, you know, we see where you got your start. So as you went through your journey, you know, what were some of those key fundamental moments that started to make it shift and you started to feel, I'm J Fitz, the designer, you know, and I'm in the design world?
Well, I would say it initially started at RH because, of course, at the time I was an interior design consultant. A lot of people saw more in me, and people would schedule a consultation with me, so they come up in the gallery, you know, I'm 3-piece suit, whatever, suit supply, or from J Hines, and people would look at me and I was like, you do anything in fashion? Or like,
exactly.
Like, that's what I want to do. You know, that's what I want to do. Like, I'm on that trajectory.
And you were already sending that energy.
You know, and the truth will always remain. You know, you can't really finesse, you know, like what's meant for you.
Right.
So people kept speaking life into me, to be honest with you. And one of the guys at RH, he was like, bro, you belong in fashion. Like, what are you doing? He was like, bro, there's more out here for you. So when you say those pivotal moments, I was at RH and I kept feeling this deep conviction, this call to go deeper, you know. And it started like when when I was at SCAD, I had the passion. When I transferred to Morehouse, I had it, but I didn't fully commit yet, right? You can be good at a lot of things, like you mentioned, like how you help people with lifestyle and interiors and life coaching as well. When I committed to it, that's when more opportunities started to come. So I know we'll probably get into this later, but there's a point at RH, I put my 2 weeks notice in, and I really like betted on myself. I was like, bro, I deserve more. Now, I did not know what was going to happen next. So put my 2 weeks notice in, and then I took a trip to New York. It's my first time in New York.
Oh my goodness.
You know, like New York is like the capital, you know.
If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Exactly. So I went to New York, and I stayed with my Morehouse brother, and there was a day we just toured like Soho. I went to
oh my gosh.
I went to Rick Owens, Mason Margiela, Aritzia, Uniqlo, just all of these stores.
Oh.
And I just felt the energy, right? So we got back. We went back to his apartment in Lower Manhattan, or East Side, and we walked back, and I sit on his couch, and then I receive a message from Nike, an email from Nike, and it says, "Fitz, we've been watching you."
Oh,
and so I say all that to say, like, the more you listen to like whatever that voice inside of you is telling you to do something, even though like it's a little, it may be like a little fear, but it's something. It's telling you to keep moving forward and do something that's a little bit unconventional. Things will start happening in your life. So I would say that was the initial pull to help me to keep going.
Your truest self.
Yeah. What about you? When did that happen to you? Like, when did you know that style, fashion is for me? It's calling you.
Strange enough, I've known almost my whole life. You know, it started even as a kid at home. I was basically styling my mom and my sister.
Wow.
You know, and they would ask me for advice or which shoes should they put with this outfit. But the biggest thing was a show that has been, it was around for a while, I think up to maybe 2000s, Style with Elsa Clinch.
Okay.
On CNN on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
Right.
I don't care what was going on. I had to be there.
Yeah.
And between that and Vogue magazine, I just pour, like the way kids today probably pour into YouTube and, you know, all the social media, that's the way I poured into Style with Elsa Clinch. And I saw all the models before they were supermodels. I saw the ladies that came up through the 80s and the 90s, and it was inspiring and mesmerizing. And I started practicing my walk. I started practicing all these things and just pouring into it. And then, you know, fast forward, I started modeling and getting work, whether it was print or, you know, runway. I'm, you know, about a little bit taller than average height, but just tall enough to pull it off. And so those are the things that really inspired me and got me moving. So I always knew that was my calling versus just something I like to do. You know, and I think that goes back to a whole, you know, the way you mentioned it. It's almost a spiritual thing when you talk about that voice in your head, that voice inside.
Absolutely.
That's telling you to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I went into the military, I kind of had to, it felt almost like I had to hide that part of me for years. And so I spent 22 years in service in the military and retired. But it wasn't till you'd see little bits of me pop out, but it was like I was living part of my life in the closet a little bit.
Wow.
And it wasn't till my last assignment in Tokyo that I showed up, and I had submitted a document. Usually it's a read ahead that you send to your bosses before you get somewhere. And it's kind of like a who am I? And these are the things that I believe in. These are the things I want to do in this capacity or in this job coming up. And so I sent this letter of introduction is what it's called. And it got there probably a month before I did.
Okay.
And when I arrived and talked to this boss, I had put in my letter of introduction, I am a stylist. And and I owned it.
Yeah.
And there was that initial concern, how are they going to take this? I'm in a job where it's very strategic, very masculine, and when I sat down for that discussion and that counseling, he looked at me after we talked about the other things on that in that letter. And he said, by the way, I saw you're a stylist. We have a function coming up and it's a Hawaiian theme. Could you get Hawaiian shirts? And I said, sir, they're aloha shirts and my headquarters is in Hawaii. I could definitely take care of everyone.
It was in alignment.
And and they embraced it. Yeah. And from that point on, the whole time in Hawaii and in Japan, I didn't have to hide that element of my life. It actually expanded while I was there. My business took off over there. Everything just aligned.
Let me ask you, how does it feel to walk in your purpose?
That's deep. That is, when you're walking in your purpose, it feels amazing, number one.
Yeah.
But someone said to me years ago, you can do certain things well, but if you're not walking in your purpose, that your God-given purpose,
come on now,
it's never going to be as successful as what God has planned for you. Yeah, you can be moderately successful in, humanity's idea of what success is. People think money and certain other things, but God's idea of success is not always the same as what the average everyday person's idea of success is.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you have alignment, you understand, what does he want me to do? What is my purpose? So when you start getting all that stuff on the same sheet of music and you are aligned and you are in your spiritual element and you're not just talking to God, and we're getting in a spiritual realm here. For those of you that, disclaimer, if you're not spiritual or you don't want to hear it, don't worry about it, or you can just tune us out. But when you're aligned with that and you're not just talking to God, but you are, I say meditating is when you're listening to what he has to tell you, then it's gonna be awesome, and you're gonna feel that energy. You're gonna feel all those things, and sometimes you don't necessarily feel it because feelings can lie. But then you're walking in the knowing, and so there's a knowing you have when you're walking in your purpose.
Yeah.
That nobody can shake, circumstances can't shake it, and then there's a joy. It's not happiness that comes from outside. It's a joy that comes from within. And then you're operating different, and people are responding to you different.
Yeah.
And that's where I knew, I'm working in my purpose. I just have to figure out a few things.
Yeah.
Figure out how to relate this to a bigger audience. How do I make this more than just, this is cute, put this on, let's dance and put on an outfit, and that only goes so far.
Yeah.
I love to dance, I love to do all that stuff, but I wanted more. I wanted to give more.
Yeah.
And I wanted this to have authenticity.
Yes.
Not just telling people what they want to hear or just giving them fluff. Real substance is what I was looking for. And I feel like this opportunity to sit down with other creatives, other developers, other people that are serving, entrepreneurs, we all have a connection to supporting people, to service.
Yep.
And we're aligning to bring that service and bring those ideas so other people can live their purpose, but so other people can see how to go on this journey for themselves, what it looks like, and gain a greater understanding of who they are. Because me as a stylist isn't to show myself off, it's to bring out the best in other people.
That's right.
You know, to bring the light forward so they can see, how do I be my best self every day and bring that out into the world. And so
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't mind being in the background as long as I get to thrust other people forward.
I like that. Good answer. Okay.
So with that said, with your journey, how has that changed you or affected your growth?
With what specifically?
With your journey through finding your purpose, being aligned, where are you seeing over the years? Now you're looking and you're saying, now I can look back and see where I've grown. What are you noticing as far as growth that maybe could help someone else that's thinking about entering upon this similar journey?
Stay open. You gotta stay open. And listening. You know, like, life can be going so fast. That doesn't mean you're making progress. You know?
Oh my gosh, that's
you know,
true.
But yeah, staying open. That's my perspective now. Because God can have so much out there for you. You know, like recently I got into I signed with a studio here in Atlanta.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So just staying open, because we can have one vision for our lives as creative, which is valid, you know. But also, like, God can say, like, it's bigger, you know, or He can direct you to something more specific, you know. So that's where I'm at in my journey now. But and that's what makes it fun, because if you're trying to, like, force certain things, we all know that forcing.
You can't force anything. Like
you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out. So staying open really helps me out nowadays.
Wow. That's okay. So in your personal life, what's been new going on in your life?
Oh, my lady, she's y'all can't see her, but y'all will. My personal life, then my lady named Maya. Her name is Maya. And yeah, we're growing together. New dogs. I have a new dog. He's interesting. He's on his journey too.
Ooh.
He's on his journey too.
Pets are something now.
Yeah.
Oh, pets are something.
A new dog. And in this season of my life, really focused on my well-being. So when I was at Nike, and what I realized, which my lady has helped me with as well, like, as a man, all my work doesn't just go in my day-to-day work as a designer.
I'm so glad you said that.
You know, like, it's also about living life. You know, so yeah, adding new things to my life. Like, of course, I always exercise, but also boxing. I'm on, like, my 6th week of boxing training right now.
What is that like?
Boxing I like it. You know, I can let out another side of myself. You know, I can really, like, release, and it's really good. It's great cardio and discipline. It helps with my discipline, and also, you know, like in boxing, they say, like, you have to keep your hands up.
Yes.
You know, you got to keep your guard up, and
because you get hit in the face.
you get hit in the face, and I also relate that to life.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying?
Ooh. Oh. Tell us more. Tell us more. How does that relate to life? Boxing, like Rocky.
You got to keep your guard up.
Right.
You know, so
That's right.
I'm not only like just fighting in like the ring or like in training, like I'm fighting for my life.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and a part of fighting for your life, like my lady and I, we always talk about this, just being integral with your decisions. Because you can keep lying to yourself if you want.
Exactly.
You're not gonna have joy. You're not gonna be happy. You know what I'm saying? So
there's a lot of people in denial.
Yeah.
and they're just lying to themselves.
Yeah,
You're right.
There's no fun in that.
No.
So
no truth either.
There's no truth in that either. So well-being is really important. How I feel internally, because if I'm feeling good internally, I can show up good here. I can show up good in my relationship.
That's right.
You know, I can show up good with my work. And the more I've been prioritizing my well-being, new opportunities are unfolding. You know, I do yoga as well. I've been doing yoga for a little minute, but yoga as well. And
hot yoga or regular yoga?
Regular yoga.
Okay.
I haven't done hot yoga yet.
Oh man.
Try.
You gotta try it. Now, if you want to up your yoga game,
that's the next level.
That's gonna be
the next tier.
Try the hot yoga.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking a little bit, and I want to get back to the discussion we had about burnout.
Yes.
Because we see how boxing and your fitness has helped a lot with your mental health and with, you know, emotional and all the other elements that make us better. That burnout piece is huge. I know I've experienced it. I know so many people that have gone through that. And, you know, spending one day in the military, you know, I can't even tell you how many countless times that we've seen people go through burnout. We've seen, you know, we have one of the highest rates of suicide. It just riddles the body with cortisol. And from your perspective, you know, talk to us a little bit about, you know, first, you know, what do you notice happened to you when you were going through burnout?
That's a deep.
I'm sorry, like nobody wants to talk about the negative pieces of it.
But no, it's real.
It's helpful.
It's real. So when I went through burnout, and I was working with Nike, the position demanded a lot out of me in a short time frame, and I didn't sleep a lot of days, but I still had deadlines. I still had the pressure to get things done at the highest level, and experiencing burnout, I just had nothing to give, nothing, and I had to reach out to one of my mentors, ask him, like, he's high up at Jordan Brand, and he gave me some advice. It's like, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to detach. So whether that's taking like a small vacation, a weekend trip, you have to, like, as creators, as entrepreneurs, as designers, as stylists, have to allow ourselves to detach. People are going to take as much as they can get.
Ooh.
Yeah, people don't really care.
Nope.
All the time. They just want the work to be done, but this is your life.
Yeah, you only get one.
It's your life, you know. So when I realized that it was okay to implement those boundaries, I gave myself the access to, you know, take a break, you know, spend time with yourself, rest, sleep, you know.
Rest, sleep, yeah.
You know, and it's okay. Like, they will get the work. Just like communicate to your higher ups or whatever. But burnout is real. Burnout is real.
I mean, you'll get it done if you take the time to rest. Most people think, well, I won't get it done. I won't, you know, I got to keep going. I got to keep pushing. And they keep pushing themselves till their body falls apart.
Right.
And what they don't understand is if you take the break, you're actually going to come back refreshed. You're going to be able to do more because you didn't have anything to give. You were running on fumes.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I totally understand that experience. I experienced, mine was more of it was the long war. And it was years of building up to the point where I was burnt out. And it was just years of going to war numerous times, performing at high levels, expectations, like you said, we had a lot of things to help us maintain and be more resilient, working out, eating right, being fit. You have to be fit to fight, right? And they'd always tell you, drink water, take a knee, and you do those things, but when you have micromanaging bosses or you have people that are negative all the time, that stuff can
zaps your energy.
It really zaps your energy. Yeah. And for me, it started showing up because I had a family. I have to maintain, and I had high-level generals that had demands, but I had a husband.
Yeah.
And so I was split, wearing all these hats, and I had to perform at a high level at work, but then my job didn't end. I went home and had to work. And so I had a husband that had expectations that I had to meet. And then eventually we had kids where I would come home from work. I had babysitters, I had nannies, and you know what? They didn't know how to cook. Some of them didn't know how to clean, most of them didn't know how to clean, So then, as soon as I get off work, I relieve the sitter or the nanny.
Yeah.
I gotta clean the house. I gotta cook dinner. I gotta maintain and love on the kids and give them what they need, And so it was just this constant, I think the Air Force calls it OODA loop, this constant merry-go-round of this, day in and day out doing the same thing. And you have to interject rest. I remember there was a time where I had my third child, mm-hmm. and I was a zombie because I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't burning enough calories in my sleep. My body had gone into starvation mode, and I was just functioning on fumes, and I couldn't take a vacation because I was working on some high level stuff, that was needed at the higher DA level. Mm-hmm. So, my body started to fall apart. I had so much cortisol going through my body. I had wartime injuries that crept up and just started to riddle my body. And little by little, it was like I was the Walking Dead. And I was dying a little bit every day. And then I had a crucible experience with a boss that took me over the edge, and I started having what looked like mini strokes. And so, needless to say, it reached a cap. But in that process, I went from knowing how to pray to learning how to meditate during that time and get the answers from God that I needed. Had I not gone through that crucible experience, and for those of you that don't know, like a crucible experience is like one of those experiences that changes your life forever. You're never going to be the same, and they're poignant, and sometimes they're really, really awful. Yeah. They're really, really bad. And in my career, I had 2 really, really bad ones. Mm-hmm. But this was the second one, and I had to go through back surgery. Like, I had to go through all the stuff. A boss that threatened to have me killed. Like,
yeah, I remember you told me that. It's crazy.
Woo! I was, it's a whole thing. It's like, I think I have a friend that she wrote a book, and some of that is in there, but it, not in a lot of detail, but it's important. At some point, I got the help I needed. I something inside me said, get your fire back. And when I did that, I was able to get the help I needed to take a knee and get everything that I needed, and the healing and the support, and then bring me back to a point where I could be fit to fight again, and go on and do amazing things. I thought my career was over. Yeah. And I thought I was going to die in a year. But I had a second act after that, and I felt like only God could do that. So, when there's burnout, there's people that are scared to get help. They got to get help if you're that far gone. Or, you can implement some of the things that Jay was talking about,
And even I was going to implement, I just remember this from earlier. At the time when I started to manifest a lot of things that I prayed for in my life, it all came at once, right? And what I didn't realize, anytime you get a new opportunity, it's not for free.
No, there's a cost.
It's a cost.
There's a cost.
And a lot can be weighing on you in a time. And what I eventually learned through trial and error and going through the stressors and being stretched, I asked God, I said, God, expand my capacity.
Yeah.
Because like you can ask for abundance, but you don't know the cost of abundance.
You might not be able to handle all of it without some help.
Right. And that's
a lot.
Yeah, that's something that I had to pray about because I was changing.
So, you know, this has been a great discussion, but before we close, I really want us to showcase your designs and your collection. So here we see your collection. Tell me a little bit about it.
So this is from my brand, Godflow. And this collection that you all are seeing here is from the recent collection we dropped last year. It's called the Provision Collection. And basically the premise of the collection is that God provides for us during our wildest storms. And yeah, we offer 3 different colorways, and it's comfortable, so you can wear it. It's like kind of like athleisure. It's a full set. Yeah, that's
it feels so good.
And yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a full set, and yeah.
I need it in black. But when I know these boots, this back.
Yeah.
I know you're designing these boots.
Yeah.
And when they come out, I already know what color I want.
You already know.
I already know. I'm waiting. I can't wait.
We got you. We ready.
But I'm going to need this in black.
But yeah, the whole premise of the collection is God provides for us during our wildest storm. So there's a lot that comes with each collection that I put out. It's not just about it looking cool or whatever. There's actually like a spiritual meaning, something I'm going through. And then I share that with the world through like a beautiful story.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the Provision Collection by Godflow.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you for coming out and spending time with me during Style 101. And I really appreciate you, and I look forward to things to come. So before we leave, how can this audience find you and follow you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, all socials at Fitz the Designer, and also our business page is Godflow44. But yeah, it's a lot of good things to come. I'll be putting like more content out, different BTS from like the shoot we're having, and new updates about the next collection that's coming out with the boots that Lesley keeps talking about. But yeah, you can find me at Fitz the Designer.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming out. This was Style 101 with myself, Lesley Ortiz, and today's guest, Mr. Fitz, J Fitz. So have a good one. Take care.
Thanks,